Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And Sunday, we officially got our second episode of The Last of Us Season 2 titled Through the Valley. Now, I am a bit late on this video. I am a bit late of trying to make this video at least. I won't lie, after I watched the episode, I needed to sit on it for a while because it was a lot to take in. And then I wanted to do it yesterday, but then time was not very good to me, and it was not my best friend. Time has not been my best friend lately. But after sitting on this episode and actually having to process it, which was a lot to take in, I think I speak for every single Last of Us fan and every fan who has played The Last of Us Part 2 is that when they announced that they were going to make a season 2 of this show and try to adapt that story, I think all of us dreaded, to say the least, to see this episode. And we all knew that they were going to do it. We all knew what they were going to do. So, again, these are going to be spoiler filled reviews. I'm not going to be hiding anything. If you have not watched the show yet, if you have not played the game yet, then leave and go watch the show or play the game so you will not get spoiled here. Is that all of us have dreaded to see the death of Joel again, because all of us who loved those two games, when Joel died in the second game, I think almost every single person was a mess after he died, because it was one of the most emotional moments in the entire game, and one of the most emotional moments in the entire series. So we have all dreaded to see Joel die again. We were all wondering if they were going to do something different. Maybe they were actually going to keep Joel alive, because they have made some changes to this story. But there was a lot of theories going around that maybe they would even change his death. Maybe they wouldn't even kill him off in general. But they, to me, have just proven that this is the greatest video game adaptation of all time. There is no game adaptation that will ever surpass this show. With now season one, and we're only two episodes into season two, I can proudly say that this is the greatest video game adaptation because I loved this episode. I truly believe that this is one of the best episodes of television I have ever seen. And I've seen a lot of shows and I've seen a lot of great television. Like, look at Breaking Bad. That has like top five episodes of all time just from 5 seasons alone. But watching this episode, I loved it because where we pick up after episode one, we pick up pretty much right after, like the day after episode one. And where we pick up here is how we start off in The Last of Us Part 2, in the actual game. This is how The Last of Us Part 2 actually starts. We do not see the whole winter dance or whatever. We didn't everything you saw in episode one, we did not see until like maybe hours into the second game. But this whole episode is what we saw in the beginning of the beginning of part two. And so where we pick up in this episode is we also pick up with Ellie and Jesse. We mostly follow those two. We don't really follow Dina after their whole kiss session at the whole dance. We don't really follow Dina much. We mostly follow Ellie and Jesse. Ellie is still upset at Joel, obviously, for what he did, which, if you're a fan of the game, then you know why she's upset at him. And we're kind of following him, and she kind of wants to rebuild that relationship with him. She kind of talks about saying, so it's like, fine, I'll go run the errands with him, and I'll do a daddy-daughter date with him or whatever. Jesse says that he went with Dina, but he did want to go with her, but let her sleep, basically. And so we follow those two, and we also where we follow them into the weed shop, which I thought was really cool how they recreated that, how they had, but it was just Jesse this time, because in the game it was Dina, but in this it's Jesse. And I thought it was really cool. This was a little small detail to me, but this is why I love this show. It's those small details for us video game fans that we just love. Is that they had the little gas mask with the bong in it. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool that they had an Easter egg to that from the game. When I saw that, I was just like, oh, that's from the game, because that's why I think this is one of the best video game adaptations, is because even the smallest moments from the game, they are able to put it into the show and just somehow make it work. And I absolutely love that. And I just thought they made the weed shop cool again. Instead of being in a basement, it was just in a supermarket in just the middle of nowhere. Like, there's just moments where it's just like they recreate these moments so perfectly from the game. It was why I love it. And not only that, we don't only just follow those two. We also finally get to follow Abby again. Now, we got a little bit of small introduction to this version of Abby in episode one. It wasn't very brief. We saw her in the very beginning. We saw that she wanted revenge on Joel, and then we saw her at the very end heading her way to Jackson. But then we pick up to where her and her friends are all in a cabin, and then they are trying to find a way to Jackson, and Abby pretty much just goes by herself, and basically shit goes down from there. And talking about Abby and kind of sticking with Abby, in the first half of the show, I didn't know how to feel about her. I forget her actual actress's name. I think her name's like Caitlin, if I'm not mistaken. I did not know how to feel about her at first because I didn't really think she was I didn't really feel like she was Abby, if that makes any sense. Because when you play the game and then watch this, they're kind of different from what they are. Because in the game, they make her this like big muscular person for some reason, which I'm glad they didn't try to do it here. Because her physicality in the game, it doesn't really add anything to her character. It's just like, oh, look at her, she's buff and strong looking. Don't fuck with her, basically. Like that never really added to her character, so I wasn't really upset that they didn't really add her physicality to this. But like something about Abby at first to me, it just felt weird because I didn't feel like I was watching Abby. I felt like I was watching this shy, short-tempered girl in a way because she's always crossing her arms, standing around, talking about how she wants to kill Joel or whatever, and she kind of felt shy and she felt short-tempered to me because it didn't feel like Abby. But then the more the episode went on, I thought they are doing great with this version of Abby. I was a bit on the fence with Caitlin as Abby at first. Again, I believe that's her actress's name. I could be mistaken. And I was on the fence about her, but the more the episode went on, and the more in the moment when we get to Joel, which I will be talking about here soon, is that I thought she did great. I think that she is doing good for so far. Again, we haven't really seen her much. This is really like the first episode where we fully see her, but I thought what Caitlyn did with Abby, I have really enjoyed. I am really enjoying this version of her. I think she's putting on a pretty good performance, and I thought the speech that she was giving Joel, talking about how killing her father, killing all the fireflies. And when she said, "Be honest with me, when was the last time you saw a firefly?" And maybe I'll kill you, and I'll kill you quickly. And that moment where she gave that speech and said that to him, I literally went, "This is what Abby is. I am very glad that this is what they're doing with her, and I'm sorry I even doubted you because you are doing great. I'm loving what you are doing right now, and I cannot wait to see what she's going to be looking like throughout the rest of the show." But moving on from that, I thought this episode was also just great because it was really heart pounding and it was really a lot of action because that first episode was really slow and short burned, which I thought was okay because a lot of people were kind of bothered by that. I saw a lot of people saying they didn't like episode 1 very much because it was very slow and it didn't like have like that fast moving pace like The Last of Us Part 2 has, which I was actually okay with because knowing how fast paced and how wild The Last of Us Part 2 is, it was kind of cool to start off slow and kind of cool to start off with this slow build up in a way because from here on out, for now on, it's just nonstop. It's just putting its pedal on the. It's just putting its foot on the gas. Like after this episode, there's gonna be no breaks. This is just gonna be on the highway for the rest of the show. We are not gonna be stopping. And I was really glad that they kind of started off slow and kind of built that up a little bit and kind of picked up from season 1. But if that is not what you were looking for, then you are going to love this episode because this is action packed. And I need to give my kudos to the special effects artists, the VFX artists, the actors and stunt workers for portraying the infected because they portrayed the infected amazingly and brought them to life beautifully in my mind because what I what I saw about people that was bothered from season 1 is that there wasn't many infected. I was not bothered by that because I have always said The Last of Us is not the story of infected. That is not what the story is, and that's not what we follow from The Last of Us. We follow Joel and Ellie's story. That is the story. That has always been what The Last of Us is. It has always been about Joel and Ellie, never about infected. They just so happen to show up every now and then. But a lot of people were kind of bothered by that, which I get. I can understand that. But since I'm so invested into this story and so invested in what is going on with Joel and Ellie, I don't really care that there wasn't many infected in season 1 because I was invested in how they were adapting that story and how they were going to adapt it. But in this season, in this episode alone, the infected are amazing. If you are looking for that, and if you were just looking for that, this is for you because I even loved it. And I don't really look for that, but they were awesome in here. Like the second they show up with from Abby falling down the cliff and them coming out of the mountain, coming out from under the snow, that is when the show, like this episode, just does not stop. It just keeps going, and it just does not stop. And to where the herd of infected going towards the town and chasing Joel and Dina and Abby. Like, just from there, it is just chaos, and it is beautiful in my mind because I thought the infected were great. To where you can tell that most of them are CGI, which I get it because especially looking at all the fucking infected that they brought into this, it's like, okay, I don't know why people would complain that they're CGI. I don't know how you're going to get that many fucking actors to play that many infected. Which it kind of blows my mind how they were able to bring this to life. Because in a video game, sure, I can see that. It's a bunch of computers and a bunch of fucking technology bullshit. This bringing it into real life and trying to bring it into a show, I am blown away of how they were able to adapt that and able to bring it to life to where it's like I watched the behind the scenes thing after the episode ended, which is what most HBO shows have at the end of their episodes is they have a little behind the scenes things of the actors talking about the episode. Like, wish I could have read the script for this episode because all the actors were saying they had no idea that this was how they were going to bring this to life. And they doubted that this episode was even going to see the light of day when they read it. And I really want to read how they penciled this down because I want to see what it looked like. Because I want to read it and be like, how the fuck are you going to bring this to life? And then you watch the episode and it is awesome. And I thought that whole sequence between Tommy and the bloater in this episode. I really like that moment because it kind of reminded me of the moment from the store section in The Last of Us Part 2 to where you fight a bloater and usually you got to and usually when I play the game I use flamethrowers and I usually use a blowtorch. I thought it was a nice little hint that Tommy was using that to take him out, which is what I usually do when I play The Last of Us. So again, just small moments like that I really enjoyed. So I just thought that was awesome. And then from there things still have not slowed down. And then we get to the moment that we have all dreaded to where Abby brings Joel and Ellie back to their cabin to get them safe from all the infected, while Tommy and all the villagers are holding off the infected and trying to stop them from taking over their village and killing all their people, which, holy shit, I have no idea how they survived that. And they bring Joel to and Abby brings Joel back to her cabin. And what I love about this moment, and what I loved about the moment in the game, is that in the game, Joel introduces himself to the group, and everything in that room just goes quiet, and they're all like looking at each other and looking at him, like a shocked look on his face, and like they can't believe it. Like, and you as a gamer, you're just sitting there going, "What is going on? Nothing feels right." Then all of a sudden, Joel gets shot in the leg, and then bad things happen from there. And what I loved about this and what they did here is that Abby was introducing saying, "Oh, this is Dina, I'm okay, and this is Joel." And the way she says it, everybody just stops what they're doing and they just stare at him. And he doesn't even know it. And he's sitting there trying to get a hold of the town, saying is trying to get a hold of him. He's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And then Abby points her gun at her, and has all of their men point the gun at him, and they put Dina to sleep for an hour. And like I talked about earlier, Caitlin, I believe her name is for Abby, who the actress who plays her, gives off a brilliant performance and a brilliant line of like talking to him, saying just like, "You killed my father. When was the last time you saw the fireflies?" Giving him this whole rant and then, like the game, grabs a shotgun and then shoots his leg, and then continues to give him that same speech. And then I love the whole sassiness of that scene too. It's just like she goes to go grab a weapon to kill him, and she's about to continue to talk about like how she's waited for this moment for years, and Joel just goes, "Oh, shut the fuck up and just get it over with." Like he was just done with her bullshit. I thought that was a great. Like I was supposed to be sad, and I was supposed to be fucking mad that it was even happening, but I got one last giggle before he died. I was a little happy with that. But I felt like they did a perfect job of recreating that moment because it is a significant moment in that game and it's a significant moment in the entire series in my mind and from the entire game, like in those two games, that is probably the biggest moment out of all of them, that and finding out that Ellie might have has to die to create a cure. So I thought I was nervous because I had no idea. I didn't know how they were gonna do it. I didn't know if they were gonna even pull it off. I didn't know, but I felt they did a perfect job of recreating it and kind of pleasing the fans and kind of having that shock value for the for non gamers and just TV show fans because I really loved this episode. It was one of the best episodes of television I have ever watched, and I am forever grateful for this team for bringing this show to life and having us kind of re-witness it, because at the same time, it's just like, I fucking hate all of you for making me watch Joel die again. But at the same time, I loved it. I thought this episode was great. I am so happy that they were able to pull that off and they were able to brilliantly recreate it. So I love this episode. I cannot wait for the next 5 weeks, because these 5 weeks of this show are going to be awesome. I'm so excited to see how Bella is going to step up as Ellie, who I have defended as Ellie. I think she is doing great in my mind. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how Bella is going to be betraying Ellie for the rest of this show, because I am absolutely excited, because this with Joel now dying, this is a huge step up from Ellie, because in the game she becomes a completely different person and she becomes revenge bent. She will not stop at anything to kill Abby for what she did, and I am so excited to see if Bella is going to be betraying her the same way, and I'm so excited to see what this show is going to look like and what this adaptation is going to do and how they're going to bring that show to life. We got a season 3 renewal announcement a few weeks ago. I'm wondering how they're going to end this season and where they're going to pick it up. But again, I love this episode. It was one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. And this kind of solidifies The Last of Us as the greatest video game adaptation of all time. But let me know what you guys think about this episode. Are you guys enjoying this show? Do you think it's a good adaptation or not? Let me know in the comments below and we shall talk about it. And if you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe to the bell notification so you will get notified for all my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, see you all next time.